The following case describes an IT offshore outsourcing agreement between two globally distributed SMEs. Over a 6-month period, an Irish-based startup company known as Alpha outsourced the development of its first product offering to a small-scale Russian-based technology firm, Beta. The agreement stretched over a 6-month period in 2009-10. This case focuses on the relationship between the two parties, the outsourcing life cycle, risks and challenges faced. Alpha was an Irish startup company which was based out of the apartment of CEO Don. Drawing on his experience as a consultant on mobile application development, Don had designed a cloud-based mobile learning platform. However, he lacked the technical skill set to develop the software himself. As Don was the only employee of Alpha, it was clear that he needed external expertise to handle the development. Using Wilcox's decision matrix to analyze the sourcing decision, the recommendation would be to in-house or buy-in development, as it was an order winner. The reality, however, was that Alpha simply could not afford to have the development take place in-house or onshore. As the company was a startup, cost was going to be a major factor in the decision as to who would be chosen to develop the software. As no low-cost options were available in Ireland, offshore outsourcing became the most obvious choice. In order to find suitable developers, Don went to rentacoder.com and searched for the top-rated suppliers. He requested quotes from 3 of the top suppliers, one from India, one from Russia, the other from the Philippines. In the end, he elected to go with the one from Russia, who came back with the middling quote, but had done excellent work in this area before. It was more than just cost that motivated Don to choose Russia. In recent years, Russia has been highlighted as a prime location for outsourcing, one of the 4 BRIC countries. Russia is home to a large pool of educated graduates, particularly in the area of IT. It also has geographical and cultural proximity to the West, which made communication easier. The transition to Beta was immediate. Just before transition, Don got all the members of the development team to sign a non-disclosure agreement. Then the Big Bang transition consisted of the transfer of a detailed tech spec document and a video conference involving the 2 CEOs via Skype. Don communicated with the development team via email to clarify any issues that arose during the development process, and also received regular status report updates. He sent and received over 250 emails during the 6-month period. Less frequently, Don would have a video conference with the CEO of Beta to get updates on the overall progress and to get or give high-level clarification. When it got to the point where Beta could send Don the first build, he could begin to assess whether or not he was getting the product he had envisaged. Between delays and stoppages, it took over 4 months before the first build, but it helped to put Don's mind at ease that he could see the software was coming together as he had set out in the tech spec. According to Aaron and Singh's structural risk matrix, this type of project represented the highest risk that the relationship with the service provider may not work as expected. Product design and development is seen as a risky area to outsource, as it's difficult to quantify and hence monitor. As such, there were a number of challenges experienced during the course of development. Employing a single supplier sourcing configuration is a risky decision for any business. Don found the loss of control and uncertainty about the future of his business to be hugely stressful. He therefore highlighted trust as a major challenge in the outsourcing process. Trust is something that is ultimately earned, but depends on the initial leap of faith to first create the relationship. This leap of faith is not blind, but rather a calculated risk based on research into the reputability of the provider and their suitability to the task. Don emphasized a number of factors that contributed to his initial decision to give Beta the go-ahead. The first was reputation. Beta was ranked highly on Rent-A-Coder by previous clients, and Don also did his own research into their previous work. He felt that the non-disclosure agreement conveyed the sentiment that there could be legal ramifications if Beta didn't deliver. Finally, Don felt that as they both stood to benefit from the arrangement, they would both do their best. The project initially ran into difficulties as Don attempted to tightly control all 3 of the project constraints. Having agreed upon the cost and time frame, Don began to incrementally expand on the feature set based on feedback he received from potential customers and investors. Beta were happy enough to accommodate these minor changes, but the scope creep continued until Beta began to fall behind schedule. A standoff between the 2 companies then ensued. Beta were not happy to continue adding to the tech spec as they were being paid a fixed amount rather than in developer days. It wasn't until a feature was scrapped that Beta agreed to continue. The standoff, however, contributed to the project being delayed. After 6 months of development, stoppages and standoffs, the mobile learning platform was delivered, on budget, almost on spec, and in twice the original time frame. The experience had been a learning process for both Alpha and Beta. As both companies involved in the project were rooted in the startup environment, an examination of the process has raised a number of interesting risks and problems that arise when costs are so tightly constrained. It was also useful to see what areas of the outsourcing process are most challenging in this particular situation and what it takes to ensure a successful venture.